and Coach Dungy joins us now. Coach, condolences on the passing of Jim Irsay, and thanks for some of your time this morning.
No, thank you, Mike. I was really rocked when I heard it last night. Jim invited me up to speak to the rookies 2 weeks ago, and I spoke to the rookie camp, but my plane was late, about 30 minutes late. I didn't get a chance to go stop by and see him, and I can't believe that would have been my last opportunity. So I was really heartbroken when I heard it, but such a good man, and man, just special in my life.
Coach, what made him special? We were talking about before the break and the last segment about quarterbacks not wanting to go to certain organizations because they feel like they're going to go there to die, right? It felt like the Colts were kind of one of those places in the 80s. What was the magic touch that Jim Irsay had to make that a place where players wanted to go and you wanted to go?
Yeah, that was definitely him, Chris. You talked about John Elway, and he did not want to go to the Colts. And Jim's dad owned the team at the time, and it was seen as one of those places you didn't want to go. But when Jim took over, he went to Indianapolis, and he wanted to change the culture and change everything around. And I'll never forget the first call that he made to me. And he called me, and he left a message on my answer machine. I wasn't home. And he said, call me back. I know you just got let go by the Bucks, but you're the type of guy that I want. I've made a coaching change. I want you to be the coach because we're trying to build something special here. When I called him back, he told me, we have just moved to Indianapolis. We don't have that long history like the Steelers or the Bears. We've got to build that. We've got to connect with our fan base. I want to do it with the right kinds of players. I want players who are going to be role models for the kids in the community. I want to do this thing right. And that caught my attention. I really at that point said, hey, let's talk. And I could see that we were on the same wavelength, and he wanted to create a football team that the community could be proud of. And I was happy to be a part of it.
We were talking earlier, Coach, and I know this happened before you got there, but I'm sure you know what really went down, because I've mentioned that there are current owners who will get involved in the draft process and maybe put their thumb on the scale for the guy they want, even if it's not who the football people want. It seems like there may have at least been some inclination, or at least outside pressure on Jim Irsay to go with Ryan Leaf in 1998. And people think, why would that even be close? Well, it was close. It was close. And I get the impression he did not get in the way of the football people who decided Peyton Manning was the guy.
You're correct. It was not a clear-cut decision. It was back and forth. And there was as you remember, there was a group of people who thought, well, Peyton Manning has been super trained. He's had all the background. Ryan Leaf is the up-and-comer, and Ryan's going to be better. He's got a stronger arm. He's bigger. If he plays more, he's going to be better. And it was back and forth. But Jim, as he always did, he let Bill Polian and the coaches make that decision, and he supported them. And that's the way he was. I'll never forget our Super Bowl year. Edgerrin James, his contract was up, and Bill Polian came in. We had a sit down, Jim and Bill and I, and Bill said, hey, we can pay Edgerrin. If we do, we will not be able to re-sign Dallas Clark, Reggie Wayne, Dwight Freeney, but we can pay him and we can make it work. Or we can draft a young running back, pay these other guys, and keep things going. And Edgerrin James was one of Jim's favorites. And it was painful to him, the thought of letting him go, especially after he had come back from knee surgery. And he was just such a good person in the locker room. And Jim said, well, my personal opinion, I want Edgerrin here, but we have to do what you guys think is best. And we let him go. And that hurt Jim, but he let us do it.
Right. Yeah, I wanted to kind of piggyback off of that because we've been discussing how, ever since you took over the Colts and even a little before you, really when Irsay took over, they've been one of the more relevant franchises in all of football. Like, how often was he around? How often was he at practice, right? He
was around a lot.
He
afterwards.
was?
At the beginning, he wasn't, Chris, because he saw some of the mistakes his dad made. And he said, I don't want to be like that. I don't want to get in the way. And I told him, we need you here, Jim. If you want this franchise to be like the Steelers and you want to be like the Rooneys and we've got to connect with everybody, we need you here. And from then on, he did. And I'll tell you what, he did some things for the players that was just unbelievable. Family issues, things that nobody would ever hear about. he would step in and take care of it. And those guys loved him. They loved to play for him. And you could tell by some of the guys who have gone into the Hall of Fame that had him as their presenter. Edgerrin James had Jim Irsay present him. That's the kind of relationship they had.
Coach, I was
just to say, very few disgruntled players over the years. Like, he never heard anybody not like Indianapolis, and that's a testament to Jim Irsay.
No, it really was. And he did so many things to connect with the people of the city. You know, you hear about the different things where the kids would come in and just, he'd hear a story and bring them to practice. Hey guys, I want you to make this young man feel at home. He's going through a difficult time, whether it's an illness, a family issue. And these are kids that nobody knew about, but Jim would bring them in and let them interact with the players because he just had that type of spirit. And he did so many things like that. When he hired me, okay, a couple of things that are unusual. He called me. He said, I want you to call me back. Don't have your agent call me. This is personal. You've got the job. I don't want to talk to an agent. You tell me how much money you want. And I couldn't believe it. But we basically kind of just negotiated on the phone. And then he gave $25,000 to my charity down here in Tampa, All Pro Dad. He said, I know you're losing your spokesman. He didn't even know me. And he sent $25,000 to All Pro Dad because he wanted them to not feel the pain of me leaving Tampa.
Wow.
That's just the kind of things he would do nonchalantly over and over.
Coach, over the last 16 years that I've known you, one of the great joys of that is hearing some of the stories. And you've got so many great stories from the Steelers days all through your coaching career. Give us your best Jim Irsay story.
Well, the best one I could tell you is it's a personal one. He did a lot for people, but I got there in 2002. My dad was getting up in age, and my dad would come to all the home games, and Mr. Irsay saw him at a couple of away games. So he said, does your dad go to every game? And I said, well, he tries to go to the ones that are close that he can get to. So if he wants to go to every game next year, tell him to just come to Indianapolis and fly with us. And 2003, he flew my dad on the team plane to every single away game. And my dad passed away at the end of the year. And my greatest memory was sitting with him and being with him at away games just because Jim Irsay, that's who he was.
That's incredible. That really is. I mean, I know there's so many stories like that about him out there. How about some of like the memorabilia stuff? Were you aware when you were sitting there as the coach that he liked all this crazy stuff and loved to add to his collection?
Every now and then he would come in with something and say, hey, you just need to see this. This is, John Lennon's guitar. And you would say, what in the world? But some things that would just, get his attention. He'd say, I've got to have this. But he would do the same thing with our players. Edgerrin James gains 220 yards and he wants the shoes and he keeps them. That's just how he did. And he had some fabulous stuff that you would say, who in the world would have that? But that's who he was.
Right. Well, Coach, we appreciate you making time on short notice, and we extend our deepest condolences to you personally for the loss you're experiencing following the passing of Jim Irsay. We thank you. We look forward to talking to you again soon. And again, it means a lot to us that you were willing to take some time to share some of your memories this morning.
No, he was a great man. I miss him already, and it's always good to be with you guys, so thanks for having me.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.